Yeah.
Tamsen!
Yes, sir.
Take control of me!
Oh God, right, okay. So, when we're looking at chain slack, it's one of those topics, isn't it, that everyone's there's 100 different thoughts and theories, and it's really, really very simple, and that's really where it's at. It's something we need to check pretty regularly. We're talking every 500 miles minimum, really.
Once a week?
Yeah.
Struth! We're going back to a shaft.
We're going to look at a very slack chain in a minute, aren't we?
No, you're not.
Okay, so having a look at marks, we've got the chain as it comes around. If we've got a really loose chain, the problem with that is it's going to, oh my God.
Is that loose?
That is very loose, Mark.
So, yeah, as your drive is engaged and the chain is spinning, where it's got this extra slack like this, you've got the potential that it can jump off the sprocket and then get wrapped up in the rear wheel, binning you over the top, so that's a bit of a disaster. The other watch out is to make sure it isn't too tight, which is clearly not a problem here. But if it's too tight, you're going to put too much strain on it, you're going to cause extra wear across your sprocket teeth and in your chain as well. Chains are simply metal links, and metal has the ability to stretch over time, so it's really important to do this regularly. Another important fact is that you can get something called tight spots in chains, and that basically means, well, it feels like this on this point. As you rotate the wheel, it might feel different at different points in the chain. So as we're going to go through and adjust this chain, we're going to make sure that it's the same as we rotate it around a couple of bits, and make sure that there's no tight spots going on in there.
Can I just say, in my defence, we did actually slacken the wheel off because it was so perfect when I brought it in.
Yeah, this is all set up for the video, isn't it?
That we actually adjusted it so it looks slack.
I don't think poker's your game, my friend. You don't need to spend stupid money to do a really simple maintenance task. You need something as simple as a tape measure, a ruler. It's nothing particularly complicated. When we're looking at chain slack, what we're looking for is the difference between the top and the bottom of the chain and where it's moving. Within your manual, you're going to have some specifications as to what that tolerance or allowance is, usually measured in millimetres. Some bikes have actually got it printed on the swing arm as well, which is great, makes life nice and easy, you don't have to look it up in a book.
We like
I
easy.
think mine's measured in fathoms, it's that slack.
It doesn't really matter whether you measure from the top down or from the bottom up, because what we really want is the difference. So we take a look where the foot peg is at. Okay, so we're here. So 32 mil, well.
Up to 40 mil by the looks of it, is it?
Another watch out, we can't see it on this bike because of the plastic coating that's here, but I know that on my bike, for example, it is visible where you can see the top side of the chain. What you want to be careful of is as you're lifting this up, you're not lifting the top part of the chain up as well, because if you do that, you're going to give yourself a false reading because you're making the whole chain move up. So the next step really is to figure out what your chain slack should be, and again, we'll do this from a couple of points on the bike as we turn the wheel as well. So we'll see what it should be, and then we can make a start on getting that adjusted.
I think it says on the handbook it's about 14 inches.
Yeah, from sea level. Wow.
Look, it's there. It tells you there, look.
Oh, sorry.
I'll clean all that.
I didn't see it through past the... Oh, yeah, perfect. Yeah, good spot. So 40 to 50 mil is what it should have. But I'd suggest that's significantly more than that.
Yeah. It becomes a really complicated thing, doesn't it, when you've got a chain there for lots of people, but basically you're looking at a measurement from the bottom to where it finishes the slack,
yeah.
And if that's over the tolerance that they say,
yeah.
It's too slack.
Yeah.
If it's under, it's too tight.
Correct.
And you just adjust it till you've got the tolerance that they say.
It really is that simple.
See, I might get a chained bike next time.
I doubt it.
So
I actually
do I.
like the sound of the chain slapping on the swing arm as I'm riding, you know, it keeps in time with the music. A bit of trance music on like you're listening to.
My God.
Right, Tamsen, what have I got to do?
Okay, so what we need to do first of all is we're going to loosen off the axle nuts so that we're not going to take them off altogether. We're just going to loosen them up.
Right.
And the reason we want to do that is we want to be able to move with the adjusters that are here. So we're just going to loosen this one off, and then we're going to do the adjustments on on the side here. It's going to be really important when we do these adjustments, because there's one on each side and we've got to do them in uniform, because if you adjust one slightly more out than the other, what you're going to do is you're going to tilt your wheel within your swing arm. And the reason that's a disaster is because you're going to get uneven tyre wear. So we want to make sure that whatever it is that we do, we make sure that the the wheel stays completely aligned as we pull it. Effectively what we want to do in this instance, because it's loose, is we want to pull the wheel further back in the swing arm. That will then tighten the chain. If we had the reverse problem and we needed to loosen off some of the slack if it was too tight, then we'd tighten it up and we'd push the wheel that way in the swing arm to loosen off the chain. So it's this way to tighten it up, and it's that way to loosen it off. So you can use these as a bit of a gauge. The other alternative is, as you're loosening it off by the same amount on both sides, whether that's quarter of a turn or half a turn. So you're doing the same movement on each side, and then you're measuring it as you go. So you're checking the slack.
I'll undo this then, shall I? He says. Righty tighty, lefty loosey, isn't it? Good Lord!
Now that we've got the bolt undone, which was very easy, we
was
just didn't
very
want to
easy,
make
I
it look
just
like
made a
Mark
bit
was
of a-
struggling.
Bit of meal of it.
So what we want to do is, we've got the adjustment nut here, so we want to tighten this one up so that it's going to pull the wheel this way. And like I said before, if we make sure we do half a turn, well, that's quite a lot of slack, isn't it? Let's do half a turn, and we'll do the same on both sides. So the idea being is that we're pulling the wheel out symmetrically, so that we're keeping the alignment. So at the minute we can see these two little lines here. So what we want to see is, as you're adjusting this, more of these lines, they should move this way, because we want the wheel to come back in the swing arm. Yes, definitely. So again, as we're doing this, what we want to do is we want to check it really regularly. So we'll move the wheel and we're just going to lift it up, and it's still smacking the top bit.
So I'm guessing that this was a bit slack.
Yes, my friend.
How's that doing?
I like this. You're doing all the bit, and I'm just sitting
You're just
there.
standing there,
I like
yeah.
it. It's getting better. You can definitely see that it's being taken up.
And I don't know whether you can actually see, but as Mark tightens it, you can actually see the chain moving a little
Oh,
bit as
don't
well.
say that.
No, you can. Look at that. That's much better.
It's
Still
looking-
hitting a little bit, isn't it? But
Yeah. You reckon that's too tight? Oh, hell. Yeah, we've gone far too far. We've got very little movement there at
So
all.
if I go back-
So we know it's got to between 40 and 50 mil. And even just with eyeballing it, without even measuring it, there's not 4 to 5
no.
centimetres there.
How's that?
Eyeballing, it looks good.
Mm. Oh, that's better.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
blimey.
perfect.
Yeah.
And rotate.
Rotate the wheel! Release
Okay.
flash
Is it
guard.
level? Because it's looking like it's coming up a bit.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Is that about it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Perfect.
Perfect. Good. One more rotate and I think we're done.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Perfect. Now see how less slack that is now, Mark.
These markings on the side, there is a question around accuracy, particularly where we're talking about adjusting this by quarter of a turn and things like that. So what you can do is you can use something like this, which is going to give us a much better accuracy. Make sure you zero it off first. That's a mistake I've made more than once. There we go. So we've got a gap there of 6.8, and
Yeah.
all we're going to do is check that the gap on this side and the gap is the same on that side.
Brilliant.
So yeah,
Yeah.
brilliant.
Fantastic.
Happy?
All we have to do is tighten it up.
Yes, sir.
And then do that. Yes, sir, like that. Happy with that. I had to work for a living when I was in the military there.
And have these got a torque setting that you've got to do them up to?
Absolutely, and it's really important that all of your bolts are done to torque. Too tight, you can strip your bolts, you can cause additional wear. Too loose, the vibrations can cause them to undo themselves. And you're talking about your wheel, so this isn't something to be messing about with. I have got an example video where I use a torque wrench incorrectly and snap a bolt in half,
Oh my word.
which was unfortunate. So to give you some context, 20 Newton meters because that was my problem, is I had no context to it. 20 newton meters is about finger type.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and if I'd known that, then that would have been a good point to have stopped. So when you're looking at your manual, if you know that finger tight is about 20 to 30 newton meters and your torque is at 125, you're clearly going to have to give it a bit of welly. It's clearly going to be a bit stiffer.
Did you notice that Mark started giving it welly then when you said clearly you're going to have to give it a bit of welly then? Fantastic.
I've always wanted to do that. I've always like, just like that, you know.
It's a really satisfying. There's a couple of watch outs on it as well. Make sure you're holding it in the right place. I think that was sort of the mistake that I made. When I did mine, I actually had my hand up against it and I muffled the click. So when you watch back the video, you can actually see the point the torque wrench clicks, but I've muffled it by mistake.
Done!
Simple
Right
as
off
that.
into the distance.
Yeah, we're done.
Brilliant. You've been able to dispel some myths for me, and I know for Mark, about having a chain and how easy it is to adjust it. And that's why I've not been riding with a chain for, I don't know, too many years to count now.
We just had Chain Fixing 101.
Yeah.
So, if you like this video,
Yeah, give it a thumbs up
subscribe to
both of our channels.
channels.
Yeah, links will be in the description and everywhere all over the screen.
What do you think about that, Tamsen?
Do you know, I've really enjoyed it today. I love getting hands-on with stuff. I love going through stuff. And actually there's some, like you said, there's some bits that really hold people back. And it really shouldn't, because absolutely, if we can, you guys can as well.
You're on.
Right. What now?
Yeah, that's what a camera does.
Does my hair look alright? Is my makeup done?
What you like.